Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Islamic Learning with Masjid As-Sabur. I am Adrian Jasper, the program coordinator, filling in for our traditional host, Imam Hazem Rashid, who is on hiatus right now. When he will be back, we'll find out when he gets back. But thank you, Imam Hazem, for the years that you've been doing this and serving our community, sharing Islam with our community in a clear, practical manner that people can digest and understand and dissect, and so thank you for that. And Masjid As-Sabur is located at 4926 15th Avenue off of Stockton Boulevard. Our website is www.masjidassabur.org, and our Facebook page is up as well. Visit our Facebook page at Masjid As-Sabur Sacramento. And also we have Friday Jummah services, our prayer services, every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Everybody's welcome to come and learn and join us, so please do. So we're going to continue part 2 of our discussion of Quranic Reflections by Muslim women with our guests
Nailah El-Amin
and Zarinah El-Amin.
So what we are doing, if you didn't catch part 1, we are just sharing. We selected verses from the Quran that we're talking about, and we're just going to share how we personally relate to those verses, and that's it. No scholarly opinions, and we're just sharing our views, our perspectives as Muslim women, and how our holy book, the Quran, how it filters through our spirits personally, and we're just here to share that with you. So you're privy to our discussion. So pardon us for a moment. We're gonna just watch us, listen to us. So we're gonna get right into it, and let's get into Surah 2, verse 148, which reads, "To each is a goal to which God turns him. Then strive together as in a race towards all that is good. Wheresoever you are, God will bring you together, for God has power over all things." What does that invoke?
Well, for me, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, for me, what that speaks to, that ayat speaks to, is that each of us have a purpose. So we all have a collective purpose of serving God and worshiping God. But how we do it, the path on which we walk to serve God, is different for every one of us. And so, and a lot, guides us, it turns us to that path, and that's kind of what the ayah says to me. So, whatever our paths are, our individual path, that we're supposed to work hard and strive hard to serve and worship Him in whatever way that may be. It may be through poetry, it may be through social work, it may be through a variety of different things, but whatever your calling is, and whatever your purpose, your path, I should say, whatever your path is, that is what we're supposed to work on and strive on. And then it also speaks to strive as a race. And so, like, you're doing your thing, she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing, but we're racing for the sake of good. We're not competing, which is different. We're not competing because we all want to win. We all want each other to win. But we're racing for the sake of goodness and for the sake of being productive and giving service. And so the other part of that, which I think is pretty awesome, is that let me just say exactly what it says. And whosoever ye are, God will bring you together. So you're working your path, they're working their path, I'm working mine. But what that says to me is that Allah will bring people of like minds, or people with like purposes, is probably a better way of saying that. So when we're working hard and to please Him and to serve Him, that we're going to intersect. We're going to attract other people into our lives that are trying to do the same thing on their own path, in their own way, in their own, fields or whatever. But we're going to intersect and cross paths with more and more people who are walking their path and striving to do what Allah has turned them towards. So that's essentially what that says to me.
And I love it. Beautifully said. Sister Zarinah?
What that says to me is that, again, like Nailah was saying, that we all have a purpose, and Allah inspires us all to do different things. And sometimes we might feel that we can't do it, but what I've learned is that if I've been inspired to do something, that I can do it, because Allah says He doesn't put anything on us that we can't handle. So that means to me that if He's put this on me, then I can do it. And especially if I have a passion for it, or if it makes me feel good just to think about it, even though I don't think I can do it, I know that I can. I just need to get the tools and the experience or whatever I need at that point to be able to do it. And that we have to, when He says we're in a race, sometimes, because people think that, one person over here will be doing something, and, people just really like them, and they just seem like they just, are doing well, and we may be hesitant to do something that's in that same vein, because we may feel like we have to compete with them in a way that is not, that brings about some type of dissension, whereas we can just be ourselves, because we all have something different to give. Whatever you're giving, it's going to touch some people, and so whatever I'm giving is going to touch different people. So we all have something to give, and if we work together, we just make it just that much more powerful, because it's just, I was thinking about this the other day. There is so many people in this world that there is no way that one person can, can get all of the attention of everybody, So if we just all do our part, it just, we can touch so many lives, and especially if we're giving a good word, that's going to benefit someone, then we all will be able to help different people, because we're all going to touch different people. And so Allah wants us to just do our thing, and like He says, and He'll bring us all together, at some point, and we'll just all be working together and doing things together, and helping each other and supporting each other, because it's enough for everybody. It's enough for everybody, and we sometimes think there's not enough.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when I reflect on that, and when he says and strive together as in a race, when I think of race, when you're racing, you're moving quickly. You're not stagnant. You're moving.
Yes.
So it's like, to me, for me, what I get is saying, just keep moving, moving quickly, move fast. Don't sleep on things. Move fast. Don't neglect them. Move fast. And when your ideas come, work to implement them. Don't let them sit on the shelf. Just like you're racing, you're moving fast to make it happen. You're keeping moving to make it happen. And while you're doing that, and then other people are doing their thing, and then He's bringing you together when you need a component of what you're working on, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody who can fulfill that.
Right.
So and then you race together. Okay, and then it quickens the race. It's like, okay, now I can move faster because I have this other person over here that can handle this part. So now the project is moving along faster. So it's like, so that's one of the things that I get from it. So, okay, let's reflect on Surah 16, verses 91 through 92. This is an interesting one to me. It says, fulfill the covenant of God when ye have entered into it, and break not your oaths after you have confirmed them. Indeed, indeed ye have made God your surety, for God knoweth all that ye do. And be not like a woman who breaks into untwisted strands the yarn which she has spun, after it has become strong. Nor take your oaths to practice deception between yourselves, lest one party should be more numerous than another. For God will test you by this, and on the day of judgment he will certainly make clear to you the truth of that wherein you disagree.
For me, with that, it really, when you become a Muslim, if you weren't born into Islam, and then my understanding is even when you're born into Islam, you still are supposed to take the Shahada when you get a certain age. So, to me, that is, that's not a small thing. It's something, especially for people that's coming in, as they call converts. That I've heard imams say, you really need to study. You need to really know this is what you want to do, because there's a lot connected with that. We have 5 pillars that we have to practice, and so you have to be ready to take on that. And so you're making a covenant with, to me, with Allah when you say, take the Shahada and declare that this is my way of life. So then you have to start living that life. And sometimes, what I've seen in my years, that people can be really, or appear to be really strong in the deen, and they're really practicing, and they're just really doing everything, and then all of a sudden they're not anymore. And you kind of wonder what happened. Like the woman, it's like you do one little thing. It's kind of like they say, if you, sometimes I think about a loss in the Bible, when they talk about Adam and Eve, and they weren't supposed to go near that tree. That to me, I always think about that, because that tree to me represents so many different things. It's like, if you used to drink, you can't go hang out with your drinking buddies anymore once you take your Shahada, because you're going to be tempted, and so you take one drink, that's taking one strand. To me, that's like starting to unravel the and then you might say, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. But then it kind of leads to other stuff, because you might take that drink and get drunk, and then that might lead to something else. So you could just mess up everything. The covenant that you made with Allah can just be totally destroyed. So it's just, we have to take, I feel we have to take our declaration to be Muslim and to live the life of Islam, and to worship Allah very seriously, because He's going to quit. At the end, He's going to question us about that.
Okay. Well, the line that pops out for me is the line that says, "And be not like a woman who breaks into untwisted strands the yarn which she has spun after it has become strong." And it's such a good metaphor, because you work to build your moral character in yourself, and then you do something stupid. It's like, okay, now I gotta repent. Now I gotta keep fixing the same little thing that you might be having to keep work on. It's like, how it's like, what it's saying to me is like, do you want to keep doing this? You're gonna keep picking up your strand. So it just reminds me of, that's just what it brings to mind with me. So, and I wrote a poem about it in my book called Yarn Undone. Okay. So when you get a chance, go.
Yeah, I have the book. I don't remember that one though.
So that's where that piece came from.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, for me, I would just say it's what I actually, this is not one that I recalled reading before. I can't, I'm sure I've read it, but I couldn't recall reading it. But so when I read it, what it spoke to for me was just the importance of our covenants with anyone, most importantly with Allah, but with anyone, whether it be a business covenant or a relationship, marriage, whatever it is, but that each of our each time we make an agreement, spoken or written, it doesn't matter, that we are in a covenant, and we must not be deceptive in them. We must not be we must understand that Allah is witnessing it all. Like He's the witness to whatever, and that we're going to be held accountable. So for me, that was the essence of it when I started to reflect on it today when I read it. was that that He knows all, and that our again, going back to that word, our word is a huge thing, and when we give our word or our oaths, then we have to uphold them at all costs, because Allah is our witness, and we're going to be held accountable.
Yeah, that's another thing that I noted that it brings to mind. Just don't just say things lightly, because sometimes you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then you don't do it. It's like, oh, I feel bad I didn't do that. I need to stop saying stuff lightly, and just take more serious what you say. Just sometimes, so it just reminds me to check myself at that.
Yes.
So, so that's just the beautiful thing about this book. It's like there's a check and the balance for everything, every single part of your life. It's like, you have this something to check you and balance you, and you always know where you're at.
Right.
It's like this measuring rod. You always know where you're at. You know if you're a little short here or whatever. That's just a wonderful thing. So just we know where to strive for.
Right.
So, okay, let's look at Surah 3, verse 139 through 40. So lose not heart, nor fall into despair, for ye must gain mastery if you are true in faith. If a wound hath touched you, be sure a similar wound has touched the others. Such days of varying fortunes we give to men and men by turns, that God may know those that believe, and that He may take to Himself from your ranks martyred witnesses to truth. And God loveth not those that do wrong.
Okay. Well, this is another one that was I didn't remember reading before today. But the ayat 139, to me, what it speaks to is the importance of having faith, and the promise of success if you strive and continue to work towards whatever it is you're working towards, specifically in the way of Allah, when you're working to please Him, when you're working to do something that is pleasing to Him, that is you've been guided to do, or it's just the right thing to do. And you may face opposition, you may face ridicule and all types of things, and it may be heavy on you and burdensome, but He tells us, not to despair, because you will gain mastery if you're true in faith. If your faith is true, you will gain mastery. And so it's kind of like, keep your head up. Keep your head up, keep working, keep striving. And that the other part of that in the second ayat, when someone is trying to oppress you, or trying to harm you, or just prevent you from achieving your goals, and they do hurt you in some way, your feelings, your reputation, Allah assures us that they're not getting away with it. Nothing is gone. He's not missing anything, and that we can be sure that what they're putting out basically is coming back to them. Like they're going to get, some might call it karma, but it's going to land back on them, and that's Allah's promise. And so that's what I got from that.
Very well. Sister Zarinah?
Well, similar, that we shouldn't despair, that, I always remember that, Allah doesn't put anything on us that we can't bear. So if something's on me, that I just need to figure out the ease in it.
Yes.
Because he hasn't. It's not something that I can't handle. So, something Nailah said earlier that, when we have something going on, then we just need to start thinking about all the good things we have going on. Because it's very easy to take some situation and just make it into this big thing when really it's really a very small thing. But in comparison to all the other things in our lives that are going well, and that in other people's lives that things are worse than our lives. So it's just, it's just a lot to me, reminding us just not to despair, that because he's always there for us. He's always taking care of us. And that, sometimes you see somebody and you think everything is going so great for them and look like my life is just falling apart and I'm the good one and they're the bad one in our mind. And so why is everything going good for them, but when we realize that we all gonna have, everybody goes through stuff. It doesn't matter, and it may look like and Allah tells us that too in the Quran, that they may look like they got it going on, but they're going to get there. So we just have to remember that.
Yeah, that's one that what I also it invokes to me. You never know what private hell people are going through. They might be dishing dirt out to you and jabbing you and causing you some discomfort, but you don't really know what their private hell is. You don't. Yes, you may never know. You may never know. They may walk around smiling and and shining, and you just never know.
I think that was very profound. That's just happened with the comedian. What was it?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. It's like everybody said, every time you saw him, he was smiling.
Yeah.
Just what you just said.
Yeah,
because his own private
it's like, because you always saw him in a character, but you never really, who is he? He had like 10,000 characters, but it was like, and he was always in this animated state. And it was like, who is he? And you never really, I never really saw an interview or anything where he wasn't like, It's like, okay, who are you? Who are you? And it's like he was hiding behind that persona. You don't really know what he was going. Now we know that he was struggling, having some private issues. So and the verse where it says, "So lose not heart and fall into despair, for you must gain mastery if ye are true in faith." What that speaks to me is that you need to have some mastery of some control of your emotions, and not just get so overburdened with grief or sadness to where you can't function. It's like kind of like, okay, get it together. You have to get it together. You have to master your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, and not overreact or just become hopeless, because there's so many people that become hopeless because they can't master their emotions. They're overwhelmed with whatever it is that that they perceive to be a problem. Or so it's like we have to. He's telling us you need to master your emotions. Don't fall into despair. So that's what I get from that.
That's good.
So that's just it's just so interesting how we can have one verse and all these different perspectives, and because we're all individuals, and we walk different paths, have different lives, we have different dispositions, and so many things that we've seen and done that are different. So when we read a verse, we get different things from it, and that's just interesting.
And even when we read the same verse ourselves, again, we get different things. It just depends on what's going on in your life at the time and how it's speaking to you at that particular time. But I noticed that for myself, and I've heard other people say it just depends on what's going on.
So it's a book of all times for all situations, and it reminds me of in the Cracker Jack boxes, I used to get these little toy holograms, and you put them in the sun, and you would tilt them one way, and you see a picture, then you tilt them another way, and you see another picture. So it just reminds me of that.
Absolutely. You and your analogies.
I I'm very creative. So yeah, and that's just very interesting. So I think we're gonna close on that.
Okay.
We're gonna close on that. So thank you all again for tuning in to Islamic Learning with Masjid As-Sabur, and our lovely guests, Sister Nailah El-Amin Johnson, and
Zarinah.
Sister Zarinah. And I am Adrian Jasper, filling in for Imam Hazem Rashid. Masjid As-Sabur is located again at 4926 15th Avenue off Stockton Boulevard. Our website, www.masjidasabur.org. Our Facebook page, please come and visit us, Masjid As-Sabur Sacramento. Our Jumu'ah services, prayer services, every Friday, 1:30 p.m. Everyone is welcome. Come and learn and shake some hands, get to know us, ask some questions. You know, we're here, we're open, we're transparent. You know, we're good people. So thank you again for tuning in, and assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, Sacramento, and everyone beyond. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to remind everyone, Masjid As-Sabur, 4926 15th Avenue. Our new masjid is gorgeous. We just finished planting over 100 plants in front of the masjid. We just got through cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready to clean up all of the wudu stations, and we want you to come and join us every Friday, 1:30 p.m. Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are also on the web, www.masjidasabur.org. And we're on Facebook, so please like us. Again, we thank you for your patience and your time. We want to remind you that God truly has a message for you. And we want to remind you that we are here to give you any help that you may need. As God has taught us, He is a merciful God. As long as you come to Him and ask forgiveness, He will forgive you. So no matter where you are in life, there is a hope for change.